All right, today we're diving into a story that is, well, both powerful and hauntingly simple. It's a classic Japanese morality tale from the incredible writer Ryūnosuke Akutagawa. It's called The Spider's Thread. And trust me, it's a short story that asks a massive question about compassion and the darkness that can live in the human heart. So picture this. The story opens in a place of just perfect peace. The Buddha himself is walking alone, right by the edge of a pond filled with lotuses, and each one is as white as a jewel. And it's from this incredibly serene place that the whole story kicks off. Now, from this perfect spot, the Buddha can see way beyond his own world. He stops, and right through the crystal clear waters of the lotus pond, he looks down, deep down, into the realms below. See, this lotus pond isn't just a pond, it's more like a window. And through it, you get this shocking contrast. You have the beauty of paradise, this place that smells sweet, where it's always morning. And then you have the absolute horror of hell, a world of darkness, of suffering, with its pool of blood, its mountain of needles, and just the faint, terrible moans of the damned. So, amongst all these countless souls suffering down there, the Buddha's gaze lands on one specific man. His name is Kandata. He's just one sinner among thousands, but for some reason, he stands out. So why him? Why Kandata? I mean, what could possibly make this one guy in the depths of hell so special? Well, the story flashes back to his life on Earth to find the one single thing he did that caught the Buddha's eye. Let's be really clear here. Kandata was not a good guy. Not at all. He was a master thief, a murderer, an arsonist. I mean, you name it, he probably did it. By any measure, this was a man who seemed to have earned his spot in hell. But in a life that was just packed with evil, he did exactly one single good thing. So here's what happened. One day, he was walking through a forest, and he was about to crush a small spider under his foot. But right before he did, he stopped. He actually thought to himself, no, this little thing has a life too. It'd be a pity to kill it for no reason, and he let it go. That one moment, that tiny flicker of mercy in a lifetime of cruelty, that's what the Buddha remembered. So, as a reward for this one good deed, the Buddha decides to give Kandata a chance, a single chance to save himself, hanging by the most fragile thread imaginable. The Buddha gently plucks this shimmering silver thread from one of the spiders in paradise and just lets it fall. Down, 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 through all the layers between worlds. And this one beautiful, delicate filament pierces right through the darkness of hell, dangling directly over Kandata. Kandata looks up, and he sees it, this silver glimmer of hope in the endless dark. He doesn't even think twice. He claps his hands in joy, grabs that thread, and just starts climbing with everything he's got. The plan is simple, right? Climb and get out of hell for good. And you know what? He's good at it. I mean, he was a master robber, so this kind of work, it's familiar to him. He climbs, and pretty soon the pool of blood and the mountain of needles are just specks far, far below him. It really looks like he's gonna make it. But this is where the entire story pivots. Kandata, totally exhausted from this huge climb, decides to stop for a second just to catch his breath. And he makes the mistake of looking back down. And what he sees changes absolutely everything. He's just hanging there, halfway between hell and paradise. And he looks at how far he's come, and he just laughs. A real laugh for the first time in years. "I've done it," he yells, feeling victorious, tasting freedom. In that moment of pure triumph, he glances down past his feet. What do you think he saw rising up from the darkness he just escaped? He sees something horrifying. It's an endless line of all the other sinners, just like a column of ants, crawling out of the dark and climbing up that same single, fragile thread right behind him. Thousands of them, all trying to follow him to freedom. And he just panics. Pure terror grabs him. All he can think is, this thread's gonna break. It's going to snap under their weight. And in that moment, he forgets all about the mercy that got him this chance in the first place. He just screams down at them, "Hey, "You sinners, this thread is mine. Who said you could climb it? Get off! Get off!" And in that exact instant, putsuri. It's this perfect Japanese onomatopoeia for that sharp, sudden sound of something snapping. The very second he screamed those selfish words, the thread broke, right where he was holding on. And there was nothing he could do. He just spun like a top, falling back, back, back into that bottomless darkness he came from. All that was left in the sky was the tiny, shimmering end of the spider's thread, hanging from paradise. All this time, the Buddha has been watching this whole drama play out from the edge of the lotus pond. And that brings us to the quiet, powerful end of the story. He saw it all. He saw the climb, he heard that selfish shout, and he watched the inevitable fall. And with this deep sadness on his face, he just turns and keeps walking. It seems Kandata's fate was sealed by his own heart. And this, right here, is the core of it all. The thread didn't break because it was too heavy. It had nothing to do with the weight of the other sinners. It broke because of Kandata's mujihi, his merciless, compassionless heart. In trying to save only himself, he damned himself. And so the story ends right back where it began. In paradise, the beautiful lotus flowers are just swaying in the breeze, completely unconcerned. The entire tragedy of Kandata was just a fleeting moment, as the perfect morning in paradise simply and inevitably moved on toward noon. You know, the story of Kandata is really a mirror. It forces us to turn inward and ask a pretty tough question. If that fragile thread of salvation ever appeared for you, would your heart be big enough to share it? Or would you, in a moment of fear, decide to climb it all alone?